All right, so as we all know, at this point, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving will be going to the we'll be going to the Brooklyn Nets, and I'm just giving my take on a couple of free agent signings that happened so far during the free agent frenzy, as they're calling it. But I'm gonna let them talk, and then you know I'm gonna provide my take.
What happened here?
Well, Kevin Durant is going to sign with the Nets 4 years, $164 million. He will join Kyrie Irving, who is going to commit also tonight. He's essentially committed already. And then DeAndre Jordan will also join this team. Obviously, Durant, it's very likely to sit out.
All right, now the Brooklyn Nets. There are a few issues that I have with this because I'm not sure about any of it. All right, so let's look at the at one of the issues I have is with Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is coming off of a pretty serious injury that could, I'm not going to say derail his career, but it could change the course of his career for the duration of it. And they're not even sure when they're going to get him, if they even get him this year, because they could use this upcoming season as just like a wash, just for him to rehab and be ready to come back. I mean, because I heard somebody say that Kevin Durant's game isn't dependent upon his athleticism, but in order to shoot a shot, you need to be able to plant your foot. You need to be able to elevate off that foot. And if you have an injured foot, knee, leg, whatever it is that is the main source of the irritation with his injury, he needs to be able to use his legs to be able to. Shots are dependent on your lower body strength. You need to be able to get up off the ground, unless you have some weird ass set shot. Even sometimes with set shots, man, like Ray Allen's set shot, he's actually elevating up into the air. But yeah, so it's important for his leg strength to be at somewhat an optimal level. I'm saying probably like 80-85%. You need his leg to be 80-85% if you're even thinking about him coming back. Because the one thing you don't want to do is re-aggravate that injury. But yeah, that's a pretty serious injury. And another issue I have is with Kyrie Irving. All right, now they're saying that he was. Somebody said that he was hurt or some shit like that. Like he wasn't. I guess he wasn't 100%. Which is, a common thing for players to say after the season is over. But the reason why I have an issue with the whole Kyrie Irving thing, like, who's going to be the leader of this team? Who's going to be able to? I mean, Kyrie can play well down the stretch. I'm not saying he can't, but being able to take over games, and because at some point somebody's going to have to be able to take over games. Who's it going to be? I mean, there's a difference between being able to close a game out, having the ability to close a game out, and leading a team to tough victories, especially in the playoffs. Because if Kawhi Leonard, for any reason, if he stays in Toronto, then Toronto is going to be a force for years to come. And they showed how just tough they are physically on the defensive end of the court. I mean, who's going to be able to step up in tight playoff series against that team? So I don't know, man. I mean, they got to figure out who's going to be the alpha out of this group. Who's going to be the guy that's going to take over, lead his team to those crucial must-win victories. Because Kevin Durant is obviously not leading material. He even went as far as to say that he's not a leader. Kyrie is trying to be a leader, but if last year was any indication, he still has a ways to go. And I'm not saying he won't get there. I'm just saying it's not as easy as being the best player on the team and just getting out there on the floor and playing your game and hoping that it somehow inspires your teammates to play the best game that they can play. I mean, it's not that easy. Sometimes you have to be a vocal leader. Sometimes you have to be able to delegate certain responsibilities. Especially being a point guard, you need to be able to put your teammates in position to make plays. I mean, and Kyrie isn't the most I'm gonna say the most generous passer. He's not. He's not the most generous passer. So I don't know, man. Like who's gonna be the leader of his team? And then he also another issue. They also got DeAndre Jordan coming in, and I get it. You know, you want some size down low, but DeAndre Jordan better be coming off the bench. I mean, because they already have Jared Allen. Unless Jared Allen is moved, and also Spencer Dinwiddie. That goes along with this current issue that I have. Spencer Dinwiddie and Jared Allen. There's no way, if you're bringing DeAndre Jordan, there's no way you're going to start DeAndre Jordan over Jared Allen unless you have plans to trade Jared Allen. I mean, I don't think that he'll be as good. I don't think he'll be as good at the 4, so you would have to move somebody. But you also have Spencer Dinwiddie, who had to spend the last 2 or 3 years coming off the bench behind D'Angelo Russell, and I'm not saying that Spencer Dinwiddie wasn't happy to do that, because a lot of players, especially really good role players, a lot of players are just satisfied with being on these teams and playing. So, you know, it's a lot better than sitting at home and not being able to play. But it's time for Spencer Dinwiddie to get out there and actually start playing for like shit. I mean, there are plenty of teams there, and I'm gonna just name a few teams off the top of my head that still need point guards. And one of those teams is the Lakers. They got rid of Lonzo Ball. They were hoping to potentially get Kyrie Irving, I believe. Other than that, I don't know who the hell else unless they try to go after D'Angelo Russell. But why would D'Angelo Russell want to go back to a team that gave up on him so early in his career? And now that he found his footing as, I'm not going to say a leader, but as, you know, he earned his spot as the best player on the playoff team, why would he want to go back there? So, I mean, those were the only 2 viable options I could see going to the Lakers. But the Lakers still need a point guard. I mean, they traded away Lonzo. They don't really have anybody else to fill that role unless LeBron just converts to a point guard. Also, Orlando needs a point guard. I'll say Phoenix still needs a point guard. Miami Heat needs to move on from Goran Dragic. At this point in Dragic's career, his career is essentially over. So they need to move on. There are places for Spencer Dinwiddie to go. The Knicks. Well, no, not the Knicks, because they kind of have a log jam at a point guard right now. But there are teams that need point guards that he can go. But yeah, man, those are my concerns with this whole ordeal, man, and I want to see how this plays out. I think they completely blew their nut on 2 great players, but have a lot of question marks attached to them. And before I start jumping on the bandwagon of the Brooklyn Nets or a championship contender, I need to see how this all fits and what happens.
The entire season, but 3 full years of Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving coming in now, and a remarkable turnaround for this Nets organization. That when Sean Marks and Kenny Atkinson took this Nets organization over just a few years ago, it was a literal NBA wasteland, and it's a testament to, I think, the organization they built. People throw that word culture.
And another thing that I'm thinking, I really want to know. I know why Kyrie went to Brooklyn. I understand why he went there. I want to know why Kevin Durant chose Brooklyn over a myriad of teams that were probably super interested in his. I'm not gonna say probably. We're super interested in his services, man. But I wonder why he took the deal with Brooklyn. I would love to know if that ever comes up at any time in the future. I would love to hear that explanation. But let him finish.
Around a lot, but it was real. And listen, Kevin Durant initially this year, the Nets weren't really on his radar. They earned their way with both Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. They earned their way to have to be considered. And when you look at the role players there, the pieces around them, the structure in place, it made sense. And so Durant.
Look, Brooklyn had to do something. They made probably one of the worst trades I've ever seen in professional sports, ever. I'm talking worse than Mike Ditka trading all of his draft picks for the number 5 pick or something for Ricky Williams. Even worse than, I think it was the Washington. I think I would consider the Washington Redskins passing up on the ability to draft Jerry Rice. I mean, although I think they did get some good talent out of those picks, but I don't know, man. Like, if you take those players, or you pick Jerry Rice, and this is in hindsight, I think that San Fran definitely won out of that deal. But I don't know. They just had one of the worst trades in the history of professional sports that I've ever seen. I mean, you mortgage your future for 33-year-old plus players that are on the tail end of their career, that probably has maybe one contract left worth of playing time, and you mortgage your future for that. I don't get why, but I said this when the Brooklyn Nets made the playoffs. I'm so glad that they finally figured out a formula to be able to put this team in position to make it back to the playoffs. Because I thought that it would take a very long time for them to be able to get out from under those bad deals. I mean, those were bad deals, man. But I'm glad that they actually got back to being a playoff team, and and I'm also glad that D'Angelo Russell was spearheading. He was the quote unquote leader of this young team, and he helped them. He helped this franchise reclaim some sort of self-respect, and I was happy about that. But hold on a second. Okay, so now this is the news that I'm obviously more interested in. Kemba Walker signing a 4-year, $141 million contract with the Boston Celtics. And I didn't see this coming. I didn't see this coming before, 2 days ago. And then when I started hearing reports that the Celtics were interested in Kemba, I mean, I was kind of excited. I was like, wow, all right, cool, Kemba. I mean, that's not a bad transition from Kyrie to Kemba. It's not a bad transition at all. And then I also saw, after I saw that report, I also saw another report that said that Kemba most likely will be staying in Charlotte. Michael Jordan might offer some kind of deal or whatever. So then, so I kind of reserved judgment, excitement, whatever you want to call it. I kind of reserved any feeling toward the move until after it was finalized, and it looks to be finalized now. So I don't know, man. I'm kind of excited to see what Kemba can do. Kemba had probably his best year last year, and although I've seen Kemba play for years, and I've noticed how explosive this guy is when it comes to scoring, and I'm not going to say that his scoring is on the level of Kyrie Irving, but this is not a bad trade-off. To lose Kyrie, but then to get Kemba Walker, it's not a bad trade-off at all.
This just in, we have breaking news. Kemba Walker plans to agree with the Boston Celtics on a 4-year, $141.
Now, as far as I know, the deal still isn't finalized yet, because it didn't say finalized. This is just, I guess, a verbal agreement. Things can change. But right now, the Charlotte Hornets is in the process of signing Terry Rozier to a 3-year, $58 million contract. But like what we saw with DeAndre Jordan a few years ago and the Dallas Mavericks, he He was all in with the Mavericks until it came time to sign the contract. Then he changed his mind, went back to Los Angeles and signed a deal with the Clippers and left Dallas high and dry after he already verbally agreed that he was going to sign a contract. So anything can happen until that contract is signed. I'm just gonna. But also, I saw a report that Terry Rozier could possibly be a sign and trade. So I don't know, man. I don't know. It's only been going on for like an hour probably, and I'm just now waking up to news about this stuff. And as I'm looking right now at the TV, Ricky Rubio just signed a 3-year, $51 million deal with the Phoenix Suns. So now the Suns have a point guard. So, what I said about Spencer Dinwiddie possibly going to Phoenix is, not the case, I guess, anymore. But, I mean, back to this. This is a good deal for the Celtics. You needed to get... If you couldn't get Kyrie to commit, you needed to get somebody that is on a level of a Kyrie. So I think this was a phenomenal deal. This was a phenomenal move by the Boston Celtics. And I'm pretty excited to see. And I'm pretty sure Kemba's coming to the team just wanting to be a part of a successful organization after spending so many of his years in Charlotte and not having anything show for it. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's just going to be happy with being on a team that can contend in the playoffs. So he's not going to come in with the mindset of, I'm going to be the leader. You niggas need to follow me, and you need to do everything I tell you to do, like what Kyrie was on. So, I don't know, man. And hopefully this is the year that Jason Tatum takes his game to the next level instead of regressing like he kind of did last year. And like I said before, I think the reason why he regressed was because of his stubbornness. I'm sorry, I was looking at something. It was his stubbornness to be the leader. So, and I just saw a report that Indiana is trading a first-round pick and 2 future second-rounders for Malcolm Brogdon, and now Brogdon is probably going to be the new starting point guard for the Indiana Pacers. Then he just signed him to a 4-year, $85 million deal. Wow, things are moving, man, and it's only been going on for an hour. It seems like teams couldn't wait to get the ball rolling, and right now things are just moving at such a fast pace.
$1 million contract when free agency opens tomorrow at 6 Eastern. That's according to multiple reports. He'll be leaving the Hornets after 8 seasons in Charlotte, the past 3 being all-star campaigns. And
unless Kemba Walker is going to have a 20-year career, which I doubt it. Point guards with his style of game usually doesn't last past 15 years. So if he has like a 15, 16-year career, he spent half his career on a team that went nowhere and was going to go nowhere, that had poor management, that made bad deals. I mean, he drafted some solid players, but I mean, you could just see that the player development in that franchise isn't as good as some of the other franchises. And this was my biggest thing, and I got this comment from somebody with what I said about the whole Swing Cash being signed as I guess she was responsible for the player development in New Orleans. Player development is very important. Those players that you draft, the young guys that you invest contracts on, you need to be able to get the most out of those players, and player development is incredibly important. And Charlotte had in my opinion, Charlotte has a bad player development system going on over there, because they've had some pretty good players and they show glimpses of greatness, but never really lived up to any kind of potential that you would have hoped for, like Bismack Biyombo. I mean, you still got I'm not gonna say Jeremy Lamb. Jeremy Lamb has been on 2 different teams before Charlotte, but also Malik Monk. Now Malik Monk is showing signs of potential top 10, top 15 shooting guard esque. Like he's showing potential in that range, but they need to be able to continue to chisel this guy's game out to the point where now you have a star in your hands, because I believe Malik Monk has the ability to be a star in the NBA, especially for the Charlotte Hornets. But player development has to be better. I mean, I don't know. I think it's been a lot of wasted potential with that franchise. But yeah, man, I'm excited. These were the two deals that I really wanted to talk about the most, was Kevin Durant, Kyrie, and Kemba Walker. But I can't wait to see what else happens, man. This has only been not even the first day. It's only been like the first hour or two, and already we're seeing some pretty big moves happen. So, all right.